Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
sorry. I my mic is on the wrong setting.
Mhm.
1 second. All right. You should be able to hear me now. My bad. How you doing,
I
man?
can yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we're good now. Yeah.
Okay.
So, since we talked, I know you sent me an email
hmm
as well about thinking about wanting to switch it up a little bit. How's it been going since then?
I think I was just frustrated last time because I was really sad that night. I almost got to plat MMR that night.
Yeah.
Uh, I was really frustrated and yeah, I think I tidied myself up after your email. So yeah, basically what you're saying is what did you say again? You said
Uh,
basically each race needs a different type of skill that you need to push through no matter what. Like so that means even if you switch, it's just basically working over the skill set, right?
yeah. I mean, I do think Terran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is probably the best way I could describe this in a way that's going to be like verbal, and I don't have to type it out, and you'll get more of what I mean if I just say like if I talk you through the process really fast. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think Zerg and Protoss are a little bit more approachable than Terran, like 100%. I do think that um, they have their own aspects that you have to get good at. Nothing is just easy in this game anymore. It's like the skill level of getting to like high masters into GM is going to be rather difficult. You're going to be like there's a lot of like gatekeepers in that area that just like push you back down. Uh, the people that run multiple accounts or whatever. So you're gonna have to work your ass off either way, no matter what race you play. But Terran is it's like really weird in a way where Terran is like extremely hard. It's the hardest thing to learn in the entire game. 100%, it is the hardest thing to learn in the entire game. If, Terran Bio is what I'm talking about specifically. But once you do it enough, and you have this like there's nothing I can say to you that's going to describe what this means. It's experience that makes this happen. Once you have like this click, this one of these days randomly, you're going to be like, I feel like like things just click for me now, and I feel like everything I'm doing is just it's working. You're going to be like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything different than what I did before, but in reality, you're going to be doing things at a pace that is just really good now, and it's going to be overwhelming your opponents. That's just how it is. So like getting to that point is going to feel like it's going to feel awful. It's going to feel like you're climbing a mountain and you always keep falling down. But once you get there, you're going to run everybody over. Like Terran Bio is one of the strongest styles in the game. It's like really hard to deal with when somebody has had that click happen. But before they have that click happen, it's so easy to punish them and kill them. And the reason why this is because Terran Bio is so, it is so good or it is so bad based on how quick you do things and how efficient you are with the units you're using. Like, are you good at microing or are you not? Like, if you put a diamond player versus someone like Maru into a situation where they're both doing like a 2-1-1, uh, like a 2-1-1 medevac drop against Zerg, something that was like super common for a super long time. Like, Maru's might literally just win the game with that. And it's because he does really good decision making with where he goes with it and how he micros it. And if you have a diamond player, they're going to waste seconds all over the place, give their opponent more time to react to it. And then when their opponent does react to it, it's going to be harder to deal with it because you've wasted too much time. And you're not going to micro as well either. So you're just going to let whatever defense they have probably run you over a little bit more. Like it's crazy how just being assertive changes how strong bio is. And the only way you're assertive is if you know what you're doing, and that's where that click happens, right? Where like you just things make sense to you, and you always have like a game plan where you're just maximizing every second that you can. So yeah, that's I guess that's my opinion on it.
I'll probably stick with it for a longer while because I think if I give up right now, it's probably starting over again. So
Yeah,
I
you wouldn't. I would say this: you wouldn't necessarily be
Mhm.
starting over if you switched races. I'm not saying you should either. By the way, it's really up to you. It's your decision. Whatever you want to do with it. But if you switch races now, 100%, a lot of what you know would carry over. Like you wouldn't just go back into bronze. You'd probably be like going from Diamond League, like Diamond 3, down to like plat 3 if you switched to a different race, and then you could climb back from plat 3 back up to diamond in probably like 1 to 2 months. Uh, if you because all you really got to learn is like a play style essentially that you can start working on and start like memorizing and getting down essentially. Because you're a diamond player at this point, so getting back into diamond's not going to take very long.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. I would say just do whatever you want. Do whatever
Mhm.
to you for whatever you think is going to be the most satisfying for you. And some
Mhm.
people absolutely love Terran. So if you really like Terran more than the others, definitely just stick to it because you'll have more fun.
Mhm. Yeah, in terms of today, I think you mentioned the plan to train,
Yeah,
like the four gas thing. I would like to try that.
yeah. I
And
think that'll be
then
good for you.
yeah, and then the other question that I had was I kind of don't know how to deal with turtle players.
So,
Or sorry,
no, go keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
or when, for instance, like when photos go with carriers and or when Terran goes with BCs, I kind of just don't know what to do with my units.
Okay.
That's yeah.
So your style now, there's gonna be
Hmm.
one word that you need to like memorize, not memorize, but it's like your. This word is like the word that describes your playstyle now. Okay, for a while, like this is gonna be what your goal is gonna be. Okay, and the word is gonna be prevention, and you're gonna prevent your opponent from getting to a point where they have carriers or where they have battle cruisers, like a lot of them. If they go for like one or two, that's unavoidable if they rush it. But you could still kill them even if they just like power rush that shit and then have nothing else. But you're gonna try to kill people before they have like maxed out Sky Toss or maxed out Sky Terran or whatever. And the way this is gonna work is you're going to be really aggressive. So you're gonna cripple them repeatedly. Like they're gonna try to like grow to this like superpower, and you're gonna keep just like kicking out their fucking feet from under them and making them fall on their ass repeatedly until they die. Uh, so what you'll be doing is you'll be having a style that's gonna be like we talked about how you only have 4 gas. That 4 gas is literally designed to just give you the cost of upgrades and also the cost of like medevacs essentially, and maybe something else if you really want to add it in. Like you could add in a few tanks if you wanted to set up a push while also doing a medevac drop somewhere else. You could add in some liberators to do some side aggression while you push something with marine medevac, marauder, whatever. uh, it's literally just going to be hyper aggressive, and it's going to really push your multitasking, and it's going to push your decision making, and it's going to force you to learn how to micro effectively with multi-prong, because the only way Terran's effective realistically is one of two ways. You either hit a really quick timing with something where it's like one attack only, or it's multi-prong. If you don't do one or the other, you're going to have a harder time. um
Hmm.
So, like for instance, I'm not just to make sure it's not confusing. You could still hit a timing like with one attack, and you're only doing one attack, and you're not multi-pronging at like let's say 7 minutes. It doesn't have to just be like, oh, it's like 90 seconds into the game and we're doing one attack. You could have like a 7 minute timing, and this timing could be designed in a way where you have like tanks scattered in a really organized yet hard as fuck to deal with position for your opponent. Like some could be on high ground, some could be on low ground. All tanks are covering really crazy good spots for you, and then you just poke them with bio. And like every time they try to retaliate and defend themselves, you pull them back into a tank line. Like this could be something that you could be doing too. Like there are Terrans who play this way as well, and it's effective. Uh, but it's aggressive as shit. So you're just gonna be. You're not trying to do like a mech transition. You're not trying to do like anything besides really just like making a ton of bio and slamming it down your opponent's throat repeatedly. You're just constantly throwing bio in their face over and over and over and over, and you're gonna ideally break them with that. It's kind of what the goal will be for you.
This is against all three races.
Yep, 100%. It's just a hyper aggressive playstyle.
Okay. So do we get the build order now, or
Yeah.
do we have to?
I could just
Yeah.
I are you online right now? I guess I could just invite you to it, or I
Yeah.
could just do it through Discord either way.
Yeah, I'm online.
Okay, so join channel Vibu, and then I'll invite you to a game.
VIBU.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I see you. All right, so what we'll do with this build is, uh, we'll have. I think it would make sense to have. Hold on, I'm trying to think. Like, I could give you two builds. I could give you a Zerg build, and then I could give you a Protoss and Terran build, or I could just give you one build. I'm just gonna give you one build to make it easier, make your life not so like just so you're not learning multiple fucking things. So what we're gonna do is what we're gonna do. Okay, this is the idea behind it. We're gonna open up the game with a 1-1-1 expansion. Okay, so we're gonna make a barracks, we're gonna make a command center, then we're gonna make our factory, and then we're gonna make our starport, and we're gonna be scouting with a Reaper as well. And your opener can be different if you want it to be different each time, but it can always be a 1-1-1. So what I mean by that is sometimes you could do like a Marine with a mine drop. Sometimes you could do Hellion opener with Liberator. Sometimes you could do Hellion with Banshee. Like you could do a lot of different assortments of like units you want to use in any combination. With this, I would say, just for the sake of the fact that you're learning the game, let's not make it too confusing. Let's not make it too crazy. Let's go for a Hellion Banshee opener into straight up just going back into bio. And the reason why this I think will be really good for you is because Banshees will make your life way more realistically easy in case you get all in. Like if a Zerg player is going for like Massling Bane busts or like Ravager all ins, that Banshee is gonna be worth its like so much weight in what it costs. It's gonna absolutely keep you alive in a lot of situations. And then it's also gonna teach you how to multi-prong, because it's gonna, like, if you actually effectively harass the Banshee, you can harass the front with Hellions and the back with Banshee, and it can get a lot of kills if you do a good job with it. And then out of that, we'll have you go into like a third command center, and then just explode bio, and you'll never take another, like, and you'll be, as soon as you fully saturate your third, you'll take a fourth. As soon as you fully saturate your fourth, you'll take a fifth. And then as soon as you have like 80 SCVs, you'll stop making SCVs, and you'll just keep literally adding command centers and barracks. And then maybe add on like one more starport once your upgrades are kind of like done in cost. Because again, we're not going above 4 gas, so you can't afford too much more gas expenses other than the one starport and like the one factory. And that's like all the build's going to be. And it's just going to be, instead of like having a complicated build, it's going to be more about having a plan of action that can change game to game about how you're attacking your opponent. Like, the idea will always be the same. It's going to be, how do I effectively multi-prong? That's it. That should be the fundamental aspect of how you play. How can I multi-prong? Like, how do I attack left and right? How should I set this up? And then we'll talk about that as we play this game, or as I will go through it. And then I'll have you do it. I'll like run you through it as well yourself. But that's really what it's going to come down to, is when should you be attacking, and like how should you be doing it? So I guess with that being said, do you have any questions so far about anything I just said? Anything that makes sense?
Yeah, it's just I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do this in TVT though.
Yeah, just do it. And honestly, so if actually, okay, let me ask you this question first. How do you feel about your current TVT?
Um, I feel like I don't get meta, because when you told me that I should try the style, I actually tried to do a 2-on-1 in TVT, and I just lost every game.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
I wasn't sure about.
Yeah. Just keep going. Sorry.
So I wasn't sure about if this build is like, safe against the meta, which is the 3 Reaper 2 Hellion thing.
So this build is not bad against Terran. Okay. The only problem with this build though is if you're not really careful with your Banshee and you drive your Banshee right into a Cyclone, it's gonna do nothing, and it's just gonna die. And then if your Banshee does nothing and it dies, you're gonna be behind. Your Banshee kind of needs to do some type of damage. So the only way that this build would really work is if you you control the ground with your Hellions, And you might even control the ground, like maybe have your Banshee pop out and just get like a couple shots off with your Banshee and just like push the fight in your favor, and then have that Banshee go across the map. And you'd have to do like a situation where maybe try to drag your opponent's Cyclone down to his natural or something, away from his main mineral line. And as soon as you see the Cyclone, then you engage the main mineral line with your Banshee, and you're waiting outside of his base until that happens, or something like that. Because if you just straight up fly right into his base and he's got a Cyclone, you're gonna probably just die.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh,
go ahead.
when you say pay it off, like how many kills are you thinking for the Banshee?
So if we're talking about TVT and you go for a Banshee
Mhm.
and you're looking for kills here, I would say you need to get at least like 4 or 5 kills with that Banshee.
Okay.
Like realistically, if you get less than that or 0, it's not good because you invested into a starport that is just not really pulling its own weight right now.
Tia Ferrari.
But if you can get like 5 kills, that's already like, I feel like it's going to pay for itself. It's going to put you into a bit of a lead. And if your Banshee dies then, you're going to have that lead to still fall back on, which is going to keep you in a good spot. And anything more than 5 is just that much more like extreme in your favor for the rest of the game. So
Okay.
I just want you to know though, if this build, I would say it can work against Terran, okay? It can.
Mhm.
But I would say it's the least ideal for Terran. Again, I'm trying because I'm just gonna let you know something. In StarCraft 2, it is really hard to give someone a one thing beats all build. It's super fucking hard to do that, but it makes it easier to learn the build though, because you're always like using it every time. So if you feel like this build does not work for you in TVT, you're more than welcome to go back in the previous thing we talked about in TVT because it's more suited to TVT. Because I taught you like the whole Marine tank build, right? With like you go into Vikings as well, and you have like 3 Reaper, 2 Hellion Opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, that build is suited for TVT, and that is not suited for TVZ, and that is not suited for TVP. It is a TVT only build. So
Okay.
you can use that build still in TVT if you want. It's just fine. That build can literally take you to GM with TVT. But if you want to practice, I would say this, okay? If you want to practice the multitasking and you want to, because you need the skill set as well. You can't just say this build is going to make me a good player automatically. You have to like have the skill set to execute said build. So if you want to try doing some Banshee openers against Terran, it'll help you focus on, it'll give you more time to practice like your micro and your multitasking.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say that's probably how you should look at it. Don't think that this build's going to be better than the other one, but it'll help you get better at execution for then the other build that you already know, which is better.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
All right, let's hit this bad boy up. So it's basically just going to be a situation where, again, I'm going to open up with a Reaper, and we're going to then go into like a Marine with behind the Reaper just for like defense of your base. We'll make a reactor with a factory, and then we'll go into a Banshee behind that with a starport. And then behind that, we'll take out their command center, and then we'll just take constant barracks with our economy while we continuously expand. And it's just going to be like a barracks extravaganza. It's going to be so many barracks. And we'll just constantly be attacking your opponent. That's the idea. And you would just keep the aggression on while keeping your macro in a good place. And it's going to be really easy to do too, because if you're only taking 4 gases, your money's going to explode like crazy. Because you're not going to be, you're going to be like saturating mineral lines like way faster than normal now with your future expansions. Okay, so we got our, what's it called? Our gas and our barracks down now. We can go scout our opponent really fast with this SCV that started after the barracks was started, or whatever. There's something around like 17 or 18 would be ideal for a scout. That way you get in, get out, you don't die. Saturate that gas. Then we'll get ready to build our orbital. This will be the last SCV we build here, because the barracks is going to be finishing. We want to make an orbital. Okay, make our Reaper. And then make our command center so we see it's a Zerg. It's all good. We'll do we'll be same build either way. It doesn't matter if we're doing the Banshee build. Opener into bio. Okay, we'll put this command center on the rally point of the mineral line. Keep making our dudes.
Command center upgraded.
Make our next depot. Make a marine behind this. And then because we're going to be going 1-1-1 with the Banshee, as soon as we start our factory, which is about to happen, we're going to take our second gas as well. So take our factory right now and take our second gas. And now lift off this this barracks, sorry. And get ready to pop a reactor on that thing. And your Reaper could be harassing right now, you know? I'm not gonna really harass much right now, but like this is when you would be multitasking already. You're obviously starting up with the Reaper, getting those things going there. And then doing like scouting and doing whatever you can with that. Try to not lose it, but whatever damage you can do is always obviously really good. And now we're gonna be making our starport behind this. Swapping our barracks with our factory, and then putting a tech lab near the starport for the Banshee. And start making Hellions. If your Reaper sees something as well that looks like you need to be defensive, like if it's Protoss, or if it's like something aggressive looking from Zerg, I would say you probably would want to make a bunker. You always make it against Protoss no matter what, but against Terran and Protoss only if it looks like they're gonna be extra aggressive super fast. But if the Terran player is going for like a standard build with like Reapers and shit, you don't need to worry about it. Okay. Now we can make our Banshee. The placement of my depots is kind of weird, but it's fine. It's whatever. Okay. And then we'll start getting Stim Pack. And right about now is when you'd want to get your third command center, like here really soon. We have all of our production going for our units, and we want to make sure that, you know, our third base is going to get set up pretty fast. So we now take our third base. And then at this point now, you could lift off your both your starport and your factory, and you could make a new add-on here while you harass with your one Banshee and your Hellions and shit like that. You could just go try to multitask it, put them in different control groups ideally. Then you could be making in the open add-ons now, you can make more racks here. Because again, this is a racks explosion build. And you can start making either Marauders or Marines or whatever you want to make in your current tech lab. Probably Marines if it doesn't look like it's like Roach timing or something like that. But if it was like Roaches, you could totally make Marauders right now. Or if it was Stalkers, you can make Marauders as well. Okay, and then lift off your factory like one more time. And I would say this time you could make like a tech lab on it. And make like one more racks on your new reactor again. So you're literally just setting up a bunch of add-ons for your future racks that are coming up right now. And then you can start adding in some medevacs. Do whatever harass you can with your Banshee. Do whatever harass you can with your Hellions. And once you're fully saturated on that natural mineral line, like we're talking like including the gas of what that would be, like around 5.5 to 545. Start your gas at your natural. It's not a priority because you're making, again, mostly racks units. You're not trying to go gas units heavily. And then you can make your armory so you can go into 2-2 upgrades. And then you do not have to use your factory right now to make like tanks and shit. You totally can if you want to, but you don't have to. It's not mandatory. It's if you think you should. Like if you're like, oh, I need defensively making tanks here, or I want to set up a timing to do with tanks. It's really up to you. You don't have to use tanks though. Like if you just use bio and medevacs, that's totally fine. And now we have our third base that's really well saturated, like right off the bat. And now this is when you'd want to be taking a 4th base. Like, really fucking soon here. Because we already have a fully saturated main and natural, and 3rd base is about to be fully saturated. Take your 4th, and just keep your production rolling, like, as much as you can. And as you can see, look at my gas, and look at my upgrades on my engineering base. I'm barely going to be able to afford those upgrades by the time those upgrades are done. So this is like you can see, if you make tanks, it's going to come at a cost. Like you're going to delay your upgrades. But if you don't make any tanks, if you don't think you need them, well then you can get your upgrades on time, and it just reinforces how much more stronger your bio is going to be. Because you'll have, you know, obviously faster timed upgrades for your bio. Okay, so we're getting depots. Upgrades are starting again now out of the engineering bay for 2-2. And we're good to go. Now we can keep adding, where our money's getting a little bit higher. We have a 4th base started, so let's add on more racks again. So once we start that 4th base, we're starting more racks in general. And this is around the time when you'd want to be doing stuff like, if you look at my natural right now, we'd be going into, like, you know, a drop, maybe like 2 medevacs going on the right side, and then maybe like we could, however you want to set it up. How about we just do a actual fucking push on the left side? And you want to be conservative with your units. You don't want to just throw shit away. So I'm gonna actually pause this right now and say this. This is so important to understand this. When you attack someone with Terran playing this kind of a style, you don't have to attack until you die. You can attack, kill maybe 100 minerals worth of stuff, 200 minerals worth of stuff, something small. You can kill 2 depots or an overlord and a queen or whatever, and then your opponent shows up, and if you're not looking to actually take the fight, run away and hit with the other side. And just do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And then you slow down your opponent like crazy by doing this, like, because you constantly keep chipping away at them. And then if you also chip away like in a good way, where it's not just like you kill 10 or like 50 minerals worth of stuff, like 1 drone and run away or something like that. If you actually kill a substantial amount of stuff while you disengage, like if your stutter step stim packing away from his base and he gets off creep and you get a good engage there, he backs off of you, whatever. Or if he like really collapses on you and it's really scary, load up your medevacs and boost away. You don't have to take the fight. That's why you have medevacs with both sides of your push.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, my push on the left side has four medevacs and a bunch of bio, and I just killed like 20 zerglings as he tried to engage, but banelings are really getting close now. Let's load up and then boost away. And then now he showed, not only did I kill a bunch of lings here, but he showed his whole armies on the left side. So now let's drop his main base. Right at the same exact time when we're boosting with the medevacs on the left, we're boosting in with the medevacs on the right. And then as soon as he shows up that he's at the right and he's going to defend that, go back, like disengage with the medevac on the right and re-engage with the medevacs on the left. Like you literally push and pull your opponent repeatedly left and right. You never fucking let up ever. And the whole time you're doing this, you're macroing behind this, and you're only going to increase how much shit you're sending at your opponent in the future attacks. And like, let's just say hypothetically, your opponent took a 4th base, or your opponent has a lot of creep on the right side of the map. You could take another group of units, like a 3rd group of units, and you can go scan and kill all of the guy's creep while he's currently busy dealing with the medevacs and marines and marauders on the left, and he's also dealing with the medevac drop in his main on the right. You can just do this crazy like push and pull, shove him back into a corner type shit. It's, like again, this is a hyper aggressive playstyle, so it's all about keeping your macro flowing. Like if your money gets higher, you expand again, and you would make additional racks, make whatever tech labs you think you need to make. Again, it's a judgment call, but you're gonna make some almost always. You're gonna have some marauder in there, but you're probably gonna make like 2-to-1, 2 reactors to every 1 tech lab would be my guess. For most times, like with this kind of a playstyle, it's gonna definitely be more marine heavy, but you'll have some marauders mixed in there still for sure. Because again, you got to realize you can't go marauder heavy because you don't have a lot of gas. So you can't be making like 4 tech labs for every 2 reactors or every 1 reactor. You'll have no gas for that. So if you make 2 reactors and 1 tech lab every time you make more racks, you'll have some marauders always mixed in, but you'll be able to actually make them and not have a gas problem because it's going to be mostly marine focused. And it's just going to have a ton of units just barreling down your opponent's face all the time. But again, so far, how you feeling about what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not. I couldn't memorize the add-on sequence, but I'll figure that out.
It's just literally think about it like this, okay? Start off with the tech lab because this is how it works in the start of the game. You make a Reaper, you make a Marine. You then make a reactor as you make your factory because you're going to go Hellions with reactor. So you swap it over. And then you immediately start your starport right after. But you make a tech lab on your barracks to then swap it to the starport. So your barracks, after it makes the Marine and the Reaper, is literally making add-ons for your other tech buildings. So it starts with a reactor for the factory, then it becomes a tech lab for the, what's it called? For the starport. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. And then you lift off as soon as you make the tech lab for the starport, and you make another tech lab for the barracks itself so that you can get upgrades like stim pack. And now this means that you have 2 tech labs on the ground that are both going to be utilized for barracks because you're not making mass banshees. You're just going to make like 1, maybe 2 if you want to make 2. You could if you wanted to, but I would say 1 is going to probably be more than enough because you're not trying to go mass banshee here. So if you make 1 Banshee on your starport and you lift it off, then that if you lift off the reactor for the factory and the starport for the tech lab starport, that now opens up a reactor and a tech lab that used to be used by your tech, and you can make 2 new barracks on that. When you land both of those buildings, make 2 new reactors again. So this is going to put you currently at 3 reactors and 2 tech labs total. That's what you would have had now so far. And that's going to be a reactored factory, a reactored starport, and then 2 tech lab racks and 1 reactored racks. And you could lift off your factory again and your starport again, and you make another reactor on your starport, and you could leave it there this time, which is going to mean that that's going to be for the purpose of medevacs and shit. And you can make a tech lab on your factory after this to go into tanks if you want to. Like, you don't need to make a lot of them. Keep in mind, if you were actually going to go mass tanks, you would actually need gas at your 3rd base to also make marauders as well. Like, the only way you could go tanks with not having gas at your 3rd is if you just didn't go marauders, period. But you should go marauders because it's just going to be more universally good at being hyper aggressive because they don't need to siege. They're just YOLOing in with stim and shit like that, and they can load into medevacs and be really mobile. So I think marauder would suit you better here, which is why I'm not telling you to really go tanks a lot. But you could if you wanted to, like a little bit. Sorry, go ahead.
How many Hellions? How many Hellions do I make? Then I stop.
6 to 8. It's 8 if you're on point. 6 if you kind of fuck up a little bit. But like once you, this is the stopping point for your Hellions. Is when you start your 3rd base. As soon as you start your 3rd base, stop making Hellions and start going into more bio now. And because you want to actually have bio to push control of your 3rd. You don't want to be going Hellions forever and being like trying to control your 3rd with Hellions. It's going to suck. Because if your opponent shows up with roaches or stalkers, you're just never going to have a 3rd at that point.
3rd is... When did I put down the 3rd again?
You throw down a
When-
3rd after you make the Banshee.
After the bench. Okay.
So you go 1-1-1 and you start the Banshee, and then you make your 3rd base. Like, you're making Hellions, you make your Banshee, you start Stimpack, and your 3rd base is going to come up really shortly after that. And then as soon as you make your 3rd, a little bit after that, you do the add-on swap, and then after that, you do the gas at your natural. So you go the order of 1-1-1 first, make your units out of it, and then you go into your 3rd base right after that, and then you go into follow up your production because your money's going to explode because you have a lot of SCVs on minerals only at your natural, and you're now preparing for your 3rd on top of that, which is going to take the excess, which is going to really explode your economy. And then as soon as you have all that done, then you take your gas at your natural. And you're probably not going to be taking your gas at your natural. This is a big number to remember, okay? This is proper timing. Do not take your gas at your natural until your SCV count at your natural is somewhere around 20 to 24 SCVs. Like, you should not be taking your gas at your natural when you have like 8 or like 12. It's way too early. Again, that would be for design for a gas build, not a bio build.
Okay.
And then yeah, from here on out, when I resume it, all we're gonna do is just make more depots, make more units, make more racks, expand again, and we're just gonna max out, and we'll see how fast you can max out doing your example, okay?
When did you put down the eBays?
I put down the eBays after I took my gas at my natural, because you can't afford it. It's another gas expense, and I would never have been able to afford it otherwise.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Game resumed.
Okay. Then we can take another base again. We can rotate SCVs that are oversaturated now to the new base we just took.
Go, go, go! SCV ready.
And if you ever find yourself having a gas problem as well, if you're like light on, like what I am right now, light on the gas, just stop making marauders out of your tech labs and make marines.
SCV ready.
It's totally fine. Just make something. You can make marauders if you have the excess gas for it, but if you're kind of struggling for gas, just make marauders. All right, sorry, just make marines.
Let's have a blast.
Okay, we can make more racks too. And again, you can also don't feel shy. Put some fucking barracks in front of your base, like what I'm doing right now, in front of my natural. It's totally fucking fine. You're gonna be making so many racks. This is inevitably gonna happen anyways.
SCV ready. I'm in a heap of trouble. Add on. Mineral field depleted.
Okay, actually, our command center is good. We don't need that depot.
SCV ready.
Okay, keep making our units,
Armed and ready.
and we're about to have 3-3 as well. Like 3-3 is about to start really soon. Transfer SCVs now to the new base we just made. And our SCV count's done now. We now have 84 SCVs,
Cluster.
and we're maxing out at 9 minutes and like 36 seconds. So, and we can now also transfer SCVs to our fourth base from our main base because it's mining out too. And this is just like 9:45. We're starting 3-3 upgrades. So, we'll say,
Army.
in our example, I'll write it down in Discord with you. We maxed out at 9:30.
Mineral field
36
exhausted.
and 3-3 upgrades starting at 9:45. Okay, and then from here on, like again, all we're doing for the rest of this game, all the time, is thinking about how we want to attack. And now so the example of macros over here, you get the point. All it would be from this point on is keep making more racks. Literally go up to the point until you have like 20 racks, and that would be probably something along the lines of like 7 tech labs and like 14 reactors, or like 13 reactors, something around there. You don't have to have it exact, but have like 20, 21, 22 racks, something around there, and have 2/3 reactor, 1/3 tech lab, and then you're good to go. And then just keep making periodic planetary fortresses at every base beyond your third. And then you can also take a moment to just do shit like this too. Do not feel like you can't do this. Look at my bottom middle base, like my 6 o'clock base. You can totally do this in your own games. Just throw down a clump of command centers. If you have a lot of control of the game, and you also want to further your control, because what you can do is you can actually add on more and more orbitals. And if you look at the 9 o'clock base. You can do the same thing over here. Add on more command centers on this planetary fortress. And we can make all of these into orbitals. And if you actually get to a point where you have like 10 orbital commands, you can do shit where you can grab like all of the SCVs in your main, all of the SCVs in your natural. We're talking about non-gas SCVs, all the mineral guys. Like all the SCVs in your third. Go have them suicide. And drop your SCV count down to like 50 instead of 84. Or like 83. Because what you can do is you can maintain 4 SCVs on gas and maintain like 2 SCVs worth of minerals on bases, and then you can have like 10 or like 12 orbitals just dropping mules repeatedly. That makes up all the SCVs you're missing now, and you're still gonna have the same economy, but now you have a higher max out army supply by like 30 supply, so it's humongously more powerful.
Cluster expended.
And now here's how we can set up an attack. Okay,
Upgrade.
so I have my whole army at my opponent's base. Okay, at like the front of his base. You never, ever, ever, ever want to attack like this. This is really, really fucking bad. At this point in the game, never be attacking like all your army and just going, step back in. Oh no, we're not getting the damage we're looking for. Now run away. This is not how you want to do it. What you would want to do is you'd want to go like this. Like all army could be on control 1, okay? And you could go, okay, we just loaded up 4 medevacs, and we grab those 4 medevacs, and we tell them to go over, like, away from my army, right? There's the 4 loaded medevacs. And what now? These are still in control 1, so if I hit 1 and I tell them to move, they're going to be part of that. So if I hit these medevacs, and I just have these medevacs only selected that have units inside of them, and I go Alt 2, now they're out. And if I take 1 and I hit control 1 again, it's perfect. That's all you got to do, okay? And now I'll explain why. I don't know if I've ever explained this to you before, but if I haven't, I'll explain why. Actually, before I do that, before I kind of get carried away here, have I ever explained that to you, why that's important to do what I just said? If not, I can go through it.
And no, because the units you loaded up was with control group 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you didn't re-control 1 them while they're loaded, as they unload, they're going to go back into 1 again.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You already know that, so that's good. So, yeah, anyways, you would just... I would say, work on, for now, always be working on 2 attacks. Like, multi-pronging with 2 attacks. No matter fucking what. And then do not... You really just need to get good at the push and pull maneuver, where you don't ever engage before you scan, first of all. So if you want to engage the 3rd, you do that first. And now you can go, all right, let's push the 3rd. You don't just fucking run into it blindly. Because if you run into it blindly, that's how you potentially lose your army. If you run into a bunch of fucking disruptor shots or storms or colossi that are just roasting your face off, you don't want to be running into a fully fucking army sitting there waiting for you to engage it, and then you lose a bunch of your units. That's really bad. So you always scan ahead, and if he's not there, you definitely attack. So here's a cool example, okay? If I attack the 3rd... Well, let's just use the 3rd base as an example. If I attack the 3rd base and nothing was here, you have one of 2 options. You either take 1 unit... I don't give a shit what unit it is. You either take 1 unit out of your control group and move it forward like this, where it now is a spotter, and if the opponent comes from the edge of fog on like the right of this marine, you do whatever damage you can until this marine dies, and you get the fuck out. Again, you're not trying to lose your units here. Or you
Thanks for all of your coaching.
You either scan again now instead of using a spotter. If you have a lot of energy for scans, you could totally do this. You could scan again like this while you kill this base. The whole point is you're trying to break your opponent's economy before you fight their army. You're not trying to just throw your army away and kill their army as well. It's not how you're trying to play the game. This army is high mobility, so you want to use that to your advantage by always killing his economy and killing his base. Like killing his nexus, killing his hatchery, killing workers, whatever. Just doing damage where you can, and as soon as his army shows up, run away. And now if his army, let's say his army is right where the scan is, right to the right of this army, and we run away. Boost your ass into the main base, and now I'll go over here too, and do another attack. And then do it like, you know, now you're over here doing something, and once you're here and you're no longer in this area with your army on the left, you can scan like this. And be like, when are you going to arrive? And as soon as you see your opponent going up the ramp, and they're getting close, load up your medevacs, boost away, and then go right back in again with this army on the left. You just keep doing a push and pull. And every time you lose units, obviously you can make more units at home. And you can also make more barracks at home. And you can make more expansions at home. Whenever you have a moment to spare, you can always do more with what you have, like at your base macro-wise. And then as soon as you break, like once you have actually secured a lead, okay? Once you have secured a economic lead where you have more bases than your opponent, you can now start taking fights as well. That's fine. Because if you have more bases than your opponent and you're taking trades, you will always remax faster than they can, and you'll have a better bank than they will have, and you'll keep crippling them repeatedly. But if they have an equal base count to you, or if God forbid if they have a better base count than you, do not fucking fight their army. Fight their economy only and whittle them down to where they're below you. And then keep killing their economy, but if it comes down to it and you want to also fight their army once you have base lead, then that's okay. But at the same time, don't just only fight their army. It's okay to fight their army with like your left army and then fight their economy again. Now like boost into the natural while you fight them at their 3rd or something with your main army. So you're still killing economy, but you're also trading army into his main a little bit too. And then as soon as your opponent, let's say your opponent kills your entire army, the main army on the left side, okay? All of it dies. And now you know your opponent, you scan again, and you know your opponent's coming back to your medevac drop. Don't just let it die. Load it up. Go somewhere else. Be fucking annoying, because what this does is it keeps your opponent defensive in their base while you're remaxing a new army. So the concepts of what we're talking about, all you're trying to do is kill their economy first and foremost, and then secondly, kill their army afterwards once you have economy control. And the third thing that's really important to understand is we're trying to make sure our opponent never leaves his base, ever. And if he does ever leave his base, the only reason why he's leaving his base is because he's all in, because he's decided to not protect his economy, and he's just going to let it all die and go for one attack, and that's it. That's how this game should be being played for you. That's what your goal is.
Okay.
So, conceptually, how does that make sense to you? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Is there a medevac number count that I should, like, not make medevacs after I hit the count?
That's okay. So that's, I would say if you're double digits, that's a good amount. I would say a little more than 10 though, maybe like 14, because again, this is a heavy bio style. But here's the thing though, you're gonna need to make more if you lose your drops. So remember that, and if you throw a drop at your opponent and you're like, oh fuck, it died, you make more. Don't just never make more. You're gonna have to make more then eventually.
But the total count should be around 14.
It should be like, yeah. If you're at like 14 and you're maxed out with maxed army, stop. Like that's a good amount. And then you can do your drops whenever you want. And also here's a cool thing you can do too. If you ever see an opportunity where, let's just say hypothetically, your main let's rotate this around, okay? So you can totally fucking do something like this if you have that kind of a medevac count like we just talked about. Oh shit, my army is like running in a stupid way. 1 second, sorry. So we'll go back this way. So let's just say your medevacs that are the more like the smaller army supply, they're like the harass, all right? They're on the side of the Zerg's base, or the side of your opponent's base that is like where the third is. Let's just say this hypothetically is how this game is developed. I don't want to fight this. Okay. So the way this game is developed is your opponent's army is dealing with your harass, and that's great news for you because you don't give a shit about your harass. Like you don't have to engage this fight at all, but you know he's there. You scan him or you see him. It's totally all fine. You're more than welcome to now, if you're like killing creep with your main army on this side, load up for a doom drop and just fucking go for it. Literally just take your whole army and go for a doom drop and do like a humongous drop. Because if you know where your opponent's army is, there is no threat that this is going to fail. If you know he's not here. Don't ever do doom drops, though, if you don't know where your opponent's army is. So, like, if you're going to do a doom drop and you don't know where he is, you're more than welcome to attempt it, but you fucking better scan before you do it. Because if you just do it without scanning and you lose it all, you're going to throw the game in the trash. But doom drops can totally be an effective thing you can do with this style as well. If your opponent's out of position and there's opportunity to just load up and go to his main or something like that and kill all of his tech and stuff. Because this build of units, these Marines and Marauders, will kill bases ridiculously fast. You will like obliterate a base in seconds.
So after this doom drop, to save this squad or to like get rid of it, it's up to me. Right?
It's okay to lose one side of your army if you have economy advantage. You should not be trying to fight at all, unless it's economy, if you don't have economic advantage. You should be trying to... You can still, like, kite and disengage. Like, you can, like... If he's chasing you and you're, like, stutter stepping back and, like, stutter stepping, and running back to your base or something like that, that's totally fine. Like, you can still defend yourself while you run away, but try to disengage while you run away. The point I'm trying to make is, don't just go, all right, I'm stimming in and I'm A-moving. I'm going to kill you when you're down on bases. Because if your opponent's that greedy and they have better basing out than you, the last thing in the world you want to do is give them a situation where they can kill you with a cost-efficient army, and the only way The only way in StarCraft 2 would ever work, if you went for mass units, and they went for mass, even more economy than you, the only way they could ever defend themselves is if they have something that does cost-efficient damage that does AoE, and you just fight into that. Like if you're like, let's run into him, and you get stormed 4 times and you lose everything, and you're like, wait, what? Oh, well, that didn't go very well. That could happen. Your opponent would have way less army supply than you at that point in time, because he's being super greedy, but you have way more army at that, like a larger army supply at that time, but your army is not the most suited for a straight up fight. You're suited for crippling your opponent and then killing them afterwards. That's how this unit comp works. You don't just shove one. Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense, what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you cannot fucking shove power armies and expect to win with it. The only way you win with this playstyle is if you cripple their economy and then you take fights to their army afterwards, because you're chipping away at them and they're not replacing what dies then, because they're too broke. They just can't. And then you can, so you can just keep doing it repeatedly. And then, like the question you said a second ago, just to make sure we're not confused here, you're totally able to take a fight with him, with either side, your main army or your harass army. It does not matter either side, as long as you salvage the other until you have the other again. So let's just say he was coming to the main right now. You scanned it and you went, you know what? I don't want to fight this. I'm going to disengage. And that's just going to be what's going to happen now. We're going to disengage and whatever. Then they obviously you're disengaging, and you can move in with this army over here. And let's say this army is killing the third base and killing a lot of workers, and now your opponent's coming back really fast. And you go, I could disengage, or I could take the fight now. You know what? Fuck it. Let's try to take a good trade here. And while you're taking a trade, you could re-engage with this army over somewhere else. And that's fine. But now keep in mind, this is where this gets important to know this. If your harass army in top middle were to die, and this army now that's going to drop this base is still going, and you scan, and your opponent's on his way to fight you, do not fucking fight that now. Get out of his base, like salvage it, and keep him defensive. Like go somewhere else in his base, or feign pressure in the area. Because if you take 2 fights in a row and lose both, and now you have nothing in his base, you allow him to push you, and you do not want him to push you ideally. The only way you want him to push you with this playstyle is if he literally has lost all of his economy and he's just all in, and he's feeling like he has no other choice. So it would make sense to take 1 fight but not 2 in a row. You would not take a second fight until you've remade a new army to take the place of the one that previously died. And then you could take another fight again. You need something always in his base, though, keeping him defensive. You cannot take 2 at once and then lose both. That's the big concept you need to understand.
Okay.
How's it feel? How you thinking about it?
Yeah, I like it, and then I'm trying to still memorize the build order, but then on top of that, I'm free to mix in, for instance, widow mines and stuff.
Yeah,
or,
if you want to, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Once your upgrades are done, like your 3/3 is done, you're gonna and also once your gases expire, by the way, take 2 new gases somewhere else, and then your natural same thing, take 2 more somewhere else. Always maintain 4 gases. So don't just go 4 gases and then never do gas again. Just always maintain 4 gases somewhere. But once your upgrades are done, you're totally more than welcome then to add in more widow mines, more liberators, whatever you want to do. That costs gas that's not like ghost, even if you want to. You can do whatever the fuck you want, because you're definitely going to start getting a lot more gas then. But at that point too, that's when the game could become a little bit more technical if you're not breaking your opponent like massively already. So you could then add on like widow mines or something.
Sorry, could you repeat that? When could I add in liberators? Like when my force?
So
when my force?
This is going to be the easier way to explain it. That'll make more sense. Do not prioritize anything that is not a medevac over your upgrades.
Okay.
Upgrades are your priority. But as soon as your upgrades are done, you can then add on more of other shit. So you have like a triple priority, okay? Your first priority is your upgrades. Your second priority is your medevac count. Your third priority is whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Okay.
So
And then in the armory, I take the shield.
yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, do not prioritize that though over a medevac. And even though that I said that's upgrades, that's not
Okay.
actually as important. We're talking about like engineering bay upgrades. Those are the ones that matter a lot. Your medevac
Okay.
upgrades with armor, those are nice, but it's not like your priority. Like I'd rather you have a medevac than that upgrade. I'm not gonna lie.
Attacking
Okay.
SCVs.
Like get that upgrade, get the armory upgrade if you just feel like you have like 500 gas or something and you can't spend it. And you're like, fuck it, I'll just get the upgrade. Make my medevac stronger.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. Okay, so do you want to do a run through it yourself? Just do the build version of it yourself. You don't have to attack with it, but just see if you have it like down.
Sure.
All right. I will make another game really fast, invite you to it. And then I'll have you make the same order of things that I did. There we go. I see you now. This fucking arcade channel is huge. Okay, I'm going to make myself a spectator. Okay, whenever you're ready, let me know. Doesn't matter what race you play against. We'll just do the Banshee build either way. And I'll walk you through the build as well.
Okay.
I'll give you very brief notifications about like what you should be going for. But yeah, I'll give you a little walkthrough though. All right, let me know when you're ready and we'll hit it up.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. All right, so make that SCV, rally to the ramp, make that depot. Nice camera hotkeys already. Good shit.
SCV ready.
And stack your SCVs right now if you can. Good shit.
SCV ready.
And then at 17 supply, I would say send an SCV out to go scout. But for now, just get ready to build your gas and your racks.
SCV ready.
Nice barracks, and then a gas right after. And then you can rally, if you want to, you can rally your command center now, or on the next SCV to go scout. And then as soon as it spawns, re-rally it. No, good job. Okay, there you go, perfect. And then I would say also hotkey that SCV. That way you can, if you didn't already do it, you can double tap and see it. And keep making SCVs.
SCV ready.
Get your gas saturated. And then you're going to make one more SCV, which is already in queue, which is good. And then as soon as this SCV is done, make an orbital. And rally your SCV on the barracks down to your natural to make the command center. So orbital first, Reaper second, and then command center third. And then as soon as you make this command center, nice scouting by the way, I like the effort there. As soon as this command center is down, make your marine, and then your get ready to build a depot. And then I would make an SCV first, sorry, and then make a depot. You can do actually both at the same time. You just got enough money for it. Good shit. Okay, and then do not make your factory until your second gas starts, or like they pair them together is what I mean. Like do both together. So now make your second gas now. Keep making SCVs though. Probably next time in the future, start that factory like just like 2 seconds later, so you don't cut SCVs.
This better be good.
And then start your reactor. And also put the factory a little bit closer to the racks. That way you can have it swap faster. Keep making SCVs. Insta-saturate the gas. And then as soon as the factory's done, make a starport immediately. And as soon as that reactor's done, swap it over and make a tech lab near the starport with the barracks. So you can float the factory already and get ready to go. And then, good job making the orbital already.
Add-on
Make your...
complete.
But put the barracks closer to the starport. There, perfect. I was gonna say. You don't want to have too much travel time. Start making Hellions now. And rally your main base to your natural for SCVs. And then start making depots now. This is... You don't have... like, start making one depot, because you will supply block otherwise. So definitely make a depot before Command Center.
Center upgrade complete.
Keep making SCVs, keep dropping mules. Because you don't make the command center until after you start stim pack on your tech lab for your barracks. So you're gonna make a tech lab again. Oh, you misplaced the starport. There you go. And then keep making SCVs. Make another depot. Make your stim pack as soon as you can, and make 2 Hellions again when you can, and then get your third base going. So stim pack and make like a marine with it. And now you should be able to make your third command center in the next about 10 seconds or 6 seconds or so. Like super quick here. Okay, just save for your command center right now. You're about to have it. And then go back to making units again. And you can go poke if you want to. Make another depot, good job. And now as soon as your Banshee pops out, lift off your factory and lift off your starport. So actually, like, I would say pair it, like actually cancel the Hellion now. And just now, like make this a combo. Go make 2 new reactors. Don't swap them over, just make 2 new reactors altogether and make barracks in those buildings that are open now. And then keep making SCVs and keep making units. And keep making a depot, so you don't want to block. And this would be when you would be attacking the whole time while doing your shit. Obviously you don't have to, I'm just saying in general you'd want to be attacking. Keep making your units. And then as soon as those add-ons are done, lift off again and make 2 new, then make a tech lab again on the factory and make a reactor on the starport. And this allows you, if you want to make tanks. It's really good to make tanks for defensive purposes if you're getting all in. Like if you scouted an all in, you could be like, oh shit, I need a tank. Don't take the reactor on the starport. Take a new one again. And then make a new racks again for that. Perfect. Yep. You want to go to 5 racks like this. And now start your gas and start your engineering bay. Perfect. And then keep making SCVs. And keep making units. And as soon as you can, take your third base with your third. And now this is why you want to have a barracks explosion, because you want to protect the third base. You don't want it to be unprotected. And you can also start combat shield and oh, you already did, sorry. Good job. Okay, and then keep making units. You could make a tank if you need to, but otherwise you don't need to. It's just a precaution. And then make sure you start your upgrades on your energy base if you didn't do it already. You did. Good job. Good job. And yeah, keep making transfer SCVs that are proper to the gas for your natural. You're missing a couple. And then 1 back to the mineral line, and then keep making SCVs. You can grab a new one, I guess, and put it back on the mineral line at the natural. Next time it spawns, because it's only at 15. There you go. And keep dropping mules, keep making units. Keep making depots. And as soon as your third base is like 12 to 15 SCVs, somewhere around there, somewhere where it's like almost done, take a 4th base. So it's going to be really, like, probably like as soon as these SCVs finish, go take a 5th. Or, sorry, a 4th. Alright, so yeah, get ready to take a 4th right now. Perfect. Keep making units. Get your armory going. If you... Do you have an armory? I don't think you do. Definitely start an armory now. You want to start an armory when your upgrades are about 50%. Remember that. If you can think to yourself, when do I need that? At 50%, that's like perfect. Keep making units. And then you'll have like a super saturation for your 4th the second it's done. Keep making units, keep making depots. And again, this is going to be hard to do if you're constantly attacking the whole time as well. And that's the part that's going to be what I want you to practice for a long time. Like, you're going to get so much better at multitasking if you do that a lot. Okay, keep making units, keep making units. Get ready for your upgrades. The armory's about done, and your 1-1's just about done too. So you want to save about almost like 380 gas, like just under 400 to be able to go to 2-2.
Base
So make sure if you're making Marauders still at this point or Medivacs, stop them for a second and go to only Marines while you get ready for 2-2. So
Upgrade
2-2.
complete.
I would say probably cancel one of your Medivacs so you can actually afford 2-2. Again, upgrades are your priority. Medivacs are behind that, so don't forget that. And then lift off and go take a planetary. So planetary fortresses are also a priority, okay? I actually didn't say that. That's actually important that we just talked about that. They're also a massive priority. It's whenever you land it at the base, make it a PF immediately so you can actually have proper bases that are being protected. And then SCV count, stop making SCVs now. You're good. And just make units only and max out. You're doing a great job with macro defensively. Like, you're going to max out faster quota than what I gave you, which is great. But it's going to be hard to do it while you're attacking, so that's the hard part. Really try to keep that quota while you're being aggressive, as close to it as you can. And just literally never stop making command centers, like at least one at a time. And once, if you ever realize you have like 3,000 minerals in the bank, do the command center shit that I said, where you make like fucking 5 command centers at like a base, and you're like, wow, I got lots of orbitals coming up here pretty soon. But only do that when you have like thousands of minerals. Like it's gonna happen while you're being aggressive, 100%. And then again, you want to make barracks up until the point when you have like 20. 20 is like a good amount. And you maxed out this game. I wasn't paying attention right when you did it, but I think you maxed out like at 920, or if I had to guess. So definitely good job on the max out. But overall, yeah, good job. Yeah, I got like not bad at all. You'd want to lift out that command center, start another one again. You'd want to get every base covered with a PF in your side of the map. But it really comes down to just trying to maximize your damage as much as you can, for sure. And you can do this all off of 1 starport and 1 factory. You don't need more. You can always make a 2nd starport later on as well, again once your gas is freed up, if you're losing medevacs like crazy and you don't need upgrades anymore. So now you can make medevacs 4 at a time instead of 2 at a time. Now your 3-3 is about to be ready to go, so you want to get 3-3 started. And yeah, overall your build's fine. Like yeah, if you do the build this way in your future games, save your own replay as an example. You did a faster quota than I did, because we were doing more like fucking around with bullshit aggression and stuff. But if you can save this replay for yourself as your own quota and try to keep up with it constantly, and in the future obviously it's going to be way harder to do it because you're going to be attacking.
Add-on. Command center upgrade complete.
I was on 5-on-1 for a long time. Is that correct?
You what, sorry?
I was on 5-1-1 for a long time. Was that correct? I don't know when is the time to.
So you don't actually take your more racks after your 5 until your 4th base is like becoming saturated, because you're never going to really have a large bank to really make it work. And the reason why is because if you're still cranking SCVs like you're supposed to at that point in time, and now all of your racks are coming online, your 5 racks, it's going to be taking a lot of your fucking resources away to keep those maintaining full production. Because you're literally like you're exploding your fucking add-ons for these racks like crazy at that point in time. So it's going to take pretty much all your money, and you're also that's when you're setting up your upgrades for your gas and your Ingi bays. And you're going to be that's when you're also going to be exploding your depots, like even more, because you're going to not supply block. So it's going to be really hard to like add on more racks right away. But as soon as your 4th base starts getting saturated and it finishes, like you transfer the excess of your 3rd to your 4th, that's about the time when you want to add on more production, because your money's going to really explode then. And that's also about the time when your depots are probably going to be done and your SCVs are going to be done. So you're going to have this like, you're going to have more money coming in now, and you're going to have less money going into costs, because you don't need to make SCVs anymore. You don't need to make depots anymore, because you're already at 200 supply for maximum of what you could have. And that's when you got to definitely have something to spend your money on, which will be more racks.
Mineral field
Does that make sense with the timing I gave you?
Okay, so let me think about it. So it's one. So it's barracks first, and the first barracks is reactor, and then factory after the first 100 gas.
Yep.
And then swap, and then the barracks goes to a tech lab for the Banshee, and then the starport goes to that tech lab, and then after making the Banshee, make the 3rd base, right? And
After
then,
stim pack, make your third base.
Complete.
after stim pack.
Upgrade
Okay,
complete.
after
Base is under attack.
the Banshee is gonna be before the stim pack, right?
Yes,
Because when
yes.
the Banshee is
Yep.
in progress, is the
Because
tech
you're,
lab
you're
is-
swapping the tech lab of the barracks to the starport for the Banshee priority. And then you're getting a tech lab again on the racks to make a stim pack. And the reason why you need to get that upgrade so fast is because if you don't, your opponent could attack you at your third when you land it, and you won't have stim then if you go for a third too fast. And then if that happens, you could lose your third.
Okay. And after the Banshee is done, lift up the factory and the starport. Make 2 reactors, and then make 2 barracks on the leftover
Mineral field
add-ons,
depleted.
right?
Yes. So you're on
Base
3
is
buildings
under
right now, and you lift off,
Yes.
and you make 2 new. So you start like once your Banshee's done, and once your last Hellions are done, you lift off and you go make a reactor, and you make another reactor. You make 2 more reactors, and then
Yes.
now that's going to
Base
put you
is
on.
under attack.
You already had 1 racks, and now you have 3 racks because you're on the previous add-ons, while now 2 new reactors are being made. So you're now on 5 buildings in total. 3 of those are barracks. Once those new add-ons are done, the 2 new reactors are done, you're going to lift off again with your factory and your starport, and you're going to make now the permanent add-ons for the reactor, or for the starport and the factory, which is going to be a tech lab for the factory and a reactor for the starport again. And now you're going to put 2 new racks again on those 2 new reactors. So you're literally giving yourself 5 add-ons worth of buildings of barracks usage,
Mineral
and then your
field
starport and your
depleted.
factory making their own for the 6th and 7th version of that,
Mineral
like the
field
6th and 7th add-on.
Vespine geyser exhausted.
So that's when I get to 511, right? And then
Yeah.
once I get to 511, I only make up the rest production when I have the 4th base up and running.
Yes, because you will literally be spending all of your money on making SCVs, on making units out of your racks and your starport, on making your
Okay.
upgrades at your natural, and
Mineral
making
field
depots to not
depleted.
supply block. You'll be spending all your money doing that,
Mineral field
and making the
depleted.
command center to expand again. Like you'll be
Okay.
spending all your money on all this shit. You'll be able to afford it barely doing that. And then once you'll have an oversaturated third base, and once your 4th base lands,
Mineral field
you will
depleted.
transfer over a fuckload of SCVs, like we're talking like 15 or something, and it will be instantly like fully saturated on your 4th, and that is when not only will your SCVs pretty much be done, you'll be in like the 70 plus range by then. So if you're
Mineral
not done
field
already, you'll be
depleted.
very close to being done, like 2 more
Mineral
rounds and you're
field
done
depleted.
with SCV production. Your depots should be within like 30 supply of maxing out. You'll probably be like 170
Mineral
plus by
field
then too.
depleted.
So you're about to cut SCV depot costs as well. And that's when you're going to be like, okay, maximum income with less costs in my build. So now I need to add costs, that's when you explode your barracks count from 5 to probably like 10 or 12. And then again later on from like 12 to like 18 or some shit. Once you have like another base set up, like your next command center is floating over.
Vespine geyser
blah, blah, blah.
exhausted.
Because again, you're not gonna build barracks as fast as you build it this game. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. You will eventually, ideally, want to go to like 20, okay? But you're not gonna build them as fast as you did this game, because you're going to be attacking more, and you're gonna be constantly replacing units, and you're not gonna max out. You're guaranteed not gonna max out as fast as you did this game, because your units are going to die. Sometimes it's gonna happen, and you're gonna just keep. You're gonna constantly have that cost on like 12 racks now, pumping units to always remax over and over and over. But once you are maxed out and you do have a bank, then you can finish off whatever you need, like the more racks to go to maxing out with like 20 racks. And then also, if you still have a lot of money, making all those fucking command centers
Mineral
to get a
field
ton of
depleted.
orbitals so you can trade SCVs away to have a higher max army supply.
Okay.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay,
Cool.
fuck yeah, man. Definitely work on this. Do this for yourself, because even though, even try it in TVT, and I'm telling you right now, like we said earlier, this is not a better TVT build than the one I already gave you, but it will teach you how to be better at multitasking and micro, 100%. Because this is a hyper aggressive playstyle that will force you to be aggressive. Otherwise, it won't feel very strong. But if you are aggressive, you'll be like, holy shit, this owns. Like once you get really good at it, you'll cripple your opponent repeatedly and you'll run them over constantly.
So the first attack would be the first harass would be the Banshee and the Howliness, that 2 round, right? And then the second round is gonna be the 7 minute when I have 4 medevacs? Like go 2 on
So,
one side?
not
and the first
necessarily.
one?
So the first round is actually the Reaper, and then the second round is the Reaper and the Hellion. If you can save the Reaper, if you can't, it's okay. But the Reaper paired with the Hellions, and then the third round is the Hellions paired with the Banshee. Like you do two. So you're doing a single prong attack. You could do a multi prong attack with Hellion Reaper, and then you could do a multi prong attack with Hellion Banshee, and then once you have medevacs, you should actually start attacking your opponent once you have 4 medevacs. Your first 4 medevacs could have like 2 on the left, 2 on the right,
Base is under
and
attack.
you could multi-prong your opponent that way, which is going to be pretty early in the game. And then from then on, it never stops. You literally just keep increasing the aggression level repeatedly, but the aggression never
Base is
stops.
under attack.
You should think to yourself, if I'm sitting in my base just macroing,
Mineral field
I'm not doing the
depleted.
build right. Like, you could take a second to macro, that's totally fine. But if you're sitting in your base for like 2 fucking solid minutes, you're not doing it right. You need to be attacking at least once every minute.
Okay.
All right,
Cool.
man. Hell yeah. Yeah, and this will definitely feel overwhelming at first. I'm telling you right now, it will. You're gonna probably also fuck your timings up a lot. You're not. I guarantee if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not even gonna come close to the timings you did this game in terms of macro. But do it enough to feel comfortable with multitasking, and it will only overall make you a better player and everything.
Okay.
All right, man.
Cool.
Uh,
Thank you.
any final questions about anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, one thing though.
Sure.
So for instance, this army that I have here, how do you do a mass loadup?
So
I mess up like all the time.
here's what's something you could do. Okay, something you could do really fast. If you're having problems like accurately clicking when they kind of stack up a little bit, just do this. Green box your like select all army or green box your army, whatever you want to do. Green boxing works just fine.
Exhausted.
Click the last tab you have, okay? Because the
the
medevacs
what?
are always like see how there's like 1, 2, and 3. Like I want you to green box your whole army, like the big blob right above your barracks.
Yeah, I am.
And then do you see on the left side where it says 1, 2, 3 for the tabs?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So click 3, and now medevacs will always be at the end. Hold Shift and
Okay.
Control and click one of the medevacs.
Okay.
And now you don't have medevacs in your army. And now what this is going to do for you is it makes them not clump up.
Mineral field.
So it makes it
depleted.
really easy to now just spam click all of them and load into them.
Okay. Do you hold shift when you
Mineral
spam?
field.
No, don't. Just click. Just click. The reason why you don't want to do shift is because it literally will slow down the process, because it's gonna be like everyone has to go to that one medevac, now everyone has to go to the other medevac, now everyone has to go to the other medevac. When in reality, you're already under them, and if you just click really fast, you'll load up super quick anyways. And also, here the bad thing about shift clicking too is if you accidentally click the ground, it'll be like load that medevac, load that medevac. Okay, everyone, run to that rock over there.
Field depleted.
Okay, now load in medevacs again. Like you don't want that to happen. That's bad.
Okay.
It'll just waste your time. So definitely just
Okay.
don't use shift there.
Okay. Cool.
All right, man. Practice this a lot, and it'll, like I said before, it'll help you so much with your skill set as a player, because knowing how to multitask and be aggressive is something everybody needs to know how to do, especially Terran players, to progress beyond like high diamond into masters.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, man. Well, I'll.
Sorry.
Oh,
one
go
more
ahead.
thing.
Sure.
If opponent is like going like extremely turtling, for instance, if I see a planetary fortress at the third base of Terran, and then there are like tons of turrets in his main base, do I, what, just figure out how to attack him, or
So
just
you could
expand, like,
you could like find a weak point where there's not like mass turrets in one spot, and you can boost through it and maybe only lose one medevac, or ideally lose none. You can also multi-prong the front of his base in different directions. You could always land on the outside of the cliff and then kill the top of the cliffside and then boost into it. It's like you kill the turrets on the high ground from the low ground and then go inside if that's an opportunity to do that, if he's out of position. Dragging your opponent around also, by the way, creates opportunity. So if your opponent isn't giving you an opportunity, push him on one side of his base to create an opportunity by making him come defend that. And now suddenly your other side of your army has an open spot to like where it's like there's a hole in his base now where he's not defending now.
cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Definitely work on it. Good luck. I feel like this is something that this is not going to be something you're going to master in 1 month. I just want you to know that. I do not expect
Yep.
that. This is going to take a while to master for you because it's fucking hard. You're going to realize this is going to be very challenging to get on top of, like to always be on top of it. But if you, again, the more you do it, the better it will make you at the game overall. It'll just, because this is something that this is going to increase your mechanical level of playing this game. And this is something that is required in StarCraft. You have to have mechanics once you are able, like your macro is not your problem. Okay. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Clearly for anyone else out there who's listening, why I'm telling him that mechanics are the issue here for him right now. He fucking crushed the example I gave him for macro. Macro is not his problem. It is mechanical execution, which is the next level above macro because you have to keep macroing while you do that. So it's like exponentially harder than just macroing. And that's why it's going to take so long to get to like master this concept and really get really good at it. It could take you literally like half a year or so. I don't know. It depends on the person, but it depends how much you want to play and how you just adapt to it. But it'll definitely take you a while, at least a few months. So
Sure.
be
Mineral
fair to
field
yourself.
completed.
Like don't expect like 1 week and you're a god. And yeah, like I feel like try to be creative about how you attack. Like start picking up on things like I just said a second ago where you can create openings where you pull them one way and then push another way. Don't just push in a way and then die. Like try to be creative about how you approach the game and you'll start developing like your strategical mindset too about how you can attack a player by being aggressive. And this applies to all aggression because this is obviously hyper aggressive, which means you're always being aggressive. But in other games, when you go back to more standard playstyles, you can be like, oh yeah, I remember how to attack an opponent when they're being super turtly, even though I'm not playing a hyper aggressive playstyle. It just opens your mind on how to like set fights up and shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries, man. Thank you again for doing another month. I do very much appreciate that. And yeah. We can talk more about this if you want to do another one next time about more like recap about how to like really go on the micro side of things, or we can talk about something,
Sure.
whatever we want to talk about.
I'll probably only be doing this build for this month, and then next month I would have some questions. I'll probably bring a replay or something.
Okay,
right?
that
So
sounds good.
then we could start from that point. I think it's actually going to take me a while to do the attacking class while doing macro, but until I get to that point, I'll just keep practicing this build.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. Well, I look forward to talking to you again next time, and thank you again, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, have a good rest of your night, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, see you. All right, guys, that has been a coaching lesson with our boy Shangy. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a diamond level Terran lesson, teaching a Terran player how to get aggressive and how to like a build that's designed on how to push the momentum in your side and how to like learn how to use it. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Check out more videos if you really enjoyed it. If you want to learn more, if you're not even a Terran player, I have Protoss and Zerg stuff out there too. But thanks. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, good luck in your own games and peace, guys. Happy holidays. See ya.